What's going on today? I am testing the Nemo Osmo Hornet tent. This is a two-person tent. Me and Nix are gonna stay out here in Uhari National Park for the night, testing out this tent, seeing if it works for me. Not the greatest tent site in terms of there's some rocks, a lot of sticks. So we're gonna try and clear it up a little bit because I know the fabric that Nemo makes their stuff out of is super delicate. Well, it's rugged, but it's very thin, and I'd prefer not to rip it open on night one. So this is the first time I'm opening up this bag. I've heard really good reviews for it. It's one of the better two-person tents. And when I went to REI today, it honestly felt like one of the lightest too, in terms of also being priced pretty reasonably. It's an expensive tent. It's $430, I think is what I paid for it today. But compared to like the Big Agnes Copper Spur or any of the other Big Agnes tents, this is cheaper by like 30, 50 bucks. So we got our tent poles in here in a really lightweight bag. We have some DAC poles. So I believe these are aluminum poles. They feel really, really light. Yeah, these are insanely light. If you watched my last video, I did some winter camping this summer or this winter and had DAC poles as well, but those were at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 times more heavy duty and like heavy. These feel incredibly light, jeez. So I'm gonna put the specs of the fabric of the tent up on the screen here, but again, I'm not super concerned over it tearing, generally speaking, but this ground coverage is kind of trash. A lot of sharpish looking rocks and just sticks and stuff, like little twigs. So I'm gonna just put down this tarp that I don't really care about, and then I'll put the tent over top of it. Nix, you're gonna have to move, dude. It's so nice not having a reactive dog, but then you have moments like this where he's just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, he's putting his nose underneath the tarp. Why? I mean, thank you. This tent is absurd. My most recent tent I've used is a tent that my dad let me borrow over the winter. And I think it's like a 2005, 2009, it's like a 20-year-old tent. It works perfectly fine. It's fantastic. It's still waterproof and water resistant and all that. But like, the difference between this fabric in terms of weight, night and day. Like, I don't even think the Rainfly is as light as this is on that other tent. How do I put this together? This really is my first time putting this tent together or even looking at this tent. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I assume that's the middle. So this one goes here. That little middle part's super cool. Helps give it some width for the rain cover, for the Rainfly, without giving a bunch of weight. That was not very easy, and it's honestly not because of the tent. It was 100% user error, and not knowing what I was doing definitely played a big part in that. It's a bit windy, which is not great. It's not like super windy, but there's some like constant gusts. So I'm trying to put a tent up, and that is always not good. But I think it's because it's a 3-pronged tent. One thing I do have to say about this tent is it's not as big as I'm used to. Me and Nick's, I'm 6'2", he's about 70 pounds. He's a big boy. So the floor is meant for 2 people, but lying straight, not lying flat on their sides like a dog does. So we'll see how comfortable this is. I'm gonna get my sleep setup put together and then have him come into the tent and see if we can make it work. So I just inflated this mat. So I just inflated the mat, and there seems to be a decent amount of space kind of where the door is, where I can put Nix's bed. It's still pretty tight, and I would prefer to have more space, but we'll see. We'll put it in and see what happens. So me and Nix are just here for one night. I'm really close to my tent there, but it's really gorgeous here. It's 70 degrees right now. It's a little hot I'm wearing a tank top, but I'm wearing pants on the bottom, wax pants. So it's a little toasty. So I've set up pretty much everything in the tent. Like I said, it's pretty tight. It's not the most perfect setup. I think I will ultimately need to return this tent, get something a little bit bigger. Even if I were to have just 2 humans in here, it doesn't even seem like we would fit, if I'm being totally honest. This seems like a comfortable 1-person tent. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with being a 2-person tent, but for me, just very clearly not having space for 2 people. I understand you're balancing between weight and size when you're backpacking, but this just isn't gonna work out for me.